Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're tuning in from. My name is Wenlin. If this is the first time we are meeting, I'm a yoga educator and yoga teacher trainer based in Turin, Italy. And today, for this episode today, I'd like to share with you a little bit more on how you can begin to find ways for teaching opportunities. So whether you are a certified yoga instructor or whether you are still undergoing your 200-hour yoga teacher training, today I'd like to offer some tips that may help you as you begin to start your path as a yoga professional. Right. So if you're tuning in and you joined the survey in which I shared with you and I asked you to share your top challenges and the difficulties that you're experiencing right now, many of you mentioned that you don't really have teaching opportunities. So today I wanted to share with you a couple of different ways that you can go about beginning to find opportunities to teach, whether these are paid opportunities or opportunities that are more for karma yoga. So as you begin to gain experience, as you accumulate experience teaching. So there are actually three main paths or three main ways that I would begin to start to categorize the ways that you can start to find opportunities. And this would depend a lot on whether, for example, you would like to be employed by someone else or if you would like to be employed by yourself. So for example, using myself as an example, so I'm employed both by a studio. So I work mainly for Yoga Union, which is the largest studio here in Turin, Italy, where I'm based. But I also conduct my own classes on my own. So this model is a hybrid between being employed by someone else and also setting up my own classes, running my own promotions, doing my own marketing, so on and so forth. Right, so let's zoom in into the top three ways that you can begin to find teaching opportunities, right? And these are more like approaches rather than methods or ways. So the first one, if you would like to be employed full-time by, say, a center, maybe a fitness center or yoga studio that is within your vicinity, let's say you stay in a suburb or in a town, and there's a studio that you would really like to work with, right? So they might be your employer and might be one way to actually start to apply for a job with them, right? So one of the biggest tips that I can give, right, for me that I found really useful is that instead of waiting for a job opening with the studio of your dreams or with the gym of your dreams, wherever that is your dream employer, approach them actively. So even if on their website or even if on a job listing site they are not actively hiring, it might still be worthwhile to craft a very targeted email that's directed towards them, expressing your interest to actually be hired by them, what you can offer that makes you unique, and how it actually aligns with this studio or this gym's needs and their clients' needs. So in order to be able to do this, you have to first really truly take time to do research to understand for your dream employer. Maybe it's a studio, maybe it's a gym, maybe if it's even say a corporate like a company and you would like to offer them a wellness program for their employees. You have to first take time to do a little bit of research to understand what exactly really is their need. You know, what is their positioning within the market? If it is a yoga studio, are they targeting, say, expats or working professionals? If it is a gym, is it targeting, say, students, university students? And if it's, for example, maybe a company, right? And you're looking to offer them a corporate wellness program, what are their values? What's their mission statement? What do they value in terms of their website? What are they communicating, and how do they care for their employees, so on and so forth? Because what you want to offer as an individual contractor or as a potential employee is that you want to show that whatever you're offering to them meets their needs and is aligned with their goals, with their values, so on and so forth. All right, so you need to take time to find that out first. And based on your own experience as a yoga teacher, even if you're completely new, craft your email such that you can highlight relevant experience or relevant expertise that you have in a certain area that can make it obvious that you are the perfect candidate for them. So this is what will make you different from any other person who's just randomly applying. What will make this even more convincing is if, for example, you include a demo video of something that you would like to already offer them, and you can already in your email say that you would love to offer something like a trial class. If it's at a yoga studio, you can say that you would love to be able to offer a demo lesson for whoever the owner of the studio is. Another point that's really important is if you have a dream employer, find out who is owning that studio, who is owning that gym, who is owning that company. And in your email, you should address dear so and so, the name of the person or the people or the founders or the management team by name, and so and so. So let's say maybe the studio is owned by Marco, right? And Angela. So your email can begin with dear Marco and Angela and the Ahimsa Yoga team. So something like that. So make it super obvious that you already did your research. You're super keen to be on board. Show that your values are, very well aligned with whatever this studio, this company, this gym is looking to offer in the market. And really craft the email such that your values, your strengths, whatever knowledge that you have and that you decided to hone in on matches exactly what they are offering their own employees or the current target audience, the current target customers that they have. This is what will make you shine. In addition to that, within the email, I think I mentioned this in the last episode in which I talked about 7 different paths to growth and income opportunities. You should already include a demo video of yourself teaching. This one shouldn't be long. It should be anything between 15 to 20 minutes. And what you include inside shouldn't be a generic video. It should be something that is targeted based on who you're applying to. So if it's a gym and this gym is looking at offering very powerful but like all-rounded classes that give a good punch within 20 minutes, that's what you should be offering, right? It should be an energetic class that looks to engage, that looks to bring their members through a fun and a very energizing experience. On the other hand, for example, if it's a corporate wellness program that is looking to improve the well-being of its members, of the employees, and they want to include something that will help employees manage stress so that they can perform better, then the video should be of a different tone and should offer something different. So for example, it might be something that includes a little bit of meditation, helping them to stress relief techniques, time management, so on and so forth, things like this. So everything that goes in the email communication, in whatever communication that you have with your dream employer, or if there's a studio, a center, or corporate client or contact, should be super targeted, everything in the email. And it might even be worthwhile before you craft this email to already reach out on LinkedIn. So for many of us yoga teachers, we may not be so familiar with the platform LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a huge potential platform for you to connect, especially if you're looking to offer corporate yoga. Right? If you're corporate clients, if you're looking to get even private clients from the corporate wellness industry, right? That is something you might want to look into. So you might want to even begin to craft up a proper LinkedIn profile that showcases very nice photo, very credible, well-lit photo that shows communicates the kind of vibe that you want to show people. Maybe your values or what you want to come across is trustworthy, warm, approachable, knowledgeable. Then your photo should communicate that inside your LinkedIn profile. And then within your LinkedIn profile, you want to highlight your areas of strength, any possible relevant kinds of past experiences, even if they're not directly related to yoga. You should rephrase them. For example, maybe in the past you were a massage therapist, or perhaps in your last line of job you were working with maybe high-level executives, right? All these might be relevant experiences that may help you, gain or make you unique as compared to other competitors. So you want to craft already your LinkedIn profile to make it look super targeted, and then you can drop a message to, for example, whoever your dream employer might be, whether it's a yoga studio, whether it's a gym, or whether it's a corporate team, a company, so on and so forth, and say that, oh, I would love to connect. I've seen from your profile that you're looking, that these things are the things that your company values and is looking at and offering, and I would love to connect to see how I can be of assistance. Right, so that would be the first touch point that you might want to look at, and then you could follow up using an email, so on and so forth. So that's one possible way. And you can always start off with an offering that is free, something that gives people a taste of what you would like to give. And for yoga studios, for example, they're always looking for teachers to sub, because from time to time, whether it's yoga studios or fitness gyms, sometimes their regular teachers may not be available and they may be emergencies. So they are always looking for the opportunity to get someone on board to sub for their existing teachers. All their existing teachers are not available. And most yoga teachers, right, if you are teaching regularly at a studio, a lot of teachers began as a sub. So you were subbing for someone else. And what happens is, if you sub and you do a great job, afterwards they'll ask you to continue to sub, and gradually, when the opportunity arises, you become a regular teacher. So this is my own experience as well here in Turin, Italy. I began as a sub when one of the main teachers and the studio owner wasn't available, and she needed a teacher urgently. That coincided quite nicely with the time I reached out to them. I hadn't known that they were actually looking for a teacher, and they weren't advertising this publicly. I just looked for all the studios that were available and then tried to see, which one would, align with what I'm offering, and then I reached out to them directly. So this is one of the best tips I can give you. Already go out and proactively search for the opportunities that don't already exist. You can make your own opportunities. Most of the best opportunities I have had in my own experience were created by myself. So they weren't jobs that already existed in the market. I had to go and make them. I had to do a little bit of, for example, what people would call cold calling or reaching out to people. And then show them that, what I'm offering is completely aligned and exactly what they need. All right. So now that's the first point on how you can find teaching opportunities. Already reach out to your dream employers. The second way is by marketing your own classes. So let's say you're not really looking at teaching at a studio, or you want to be employed by yourself and you want to offer your own classes. That's great. So you need to start building your own audience, your own potential customers and clients, right? So you need to find your own students. So you start by having various different ways to reach out to your customers. At the first stage, you need to start to build awareness of yourself as a brand, and there can be many different ways. Right now with social media, these are all various platforms or ways to begin to advertise and increase awareness. So if you're just starting out, it might be a little bit overwhelming. You might think, oh my god, there's so many platforms, how do I begin? There's YouTube, there's Instagram, there's Facebook, and I'm on Facebook right now. There's TikTok. Some people choose Twitter as well, and then of course there are various other many platforms that you could be using. You could be focusing on LinkedIn as well. So I would suggest to think backwards for yourself. If you already have a target customer or an area you would like to zoom in on, let's say you want to work specifically with teens, right? Teenagers, or teach kids yoga. Start thinking back to where your clients might already be. So are there existing groups for parents, right, who have kids in maybe say international schools? Or are there, groups for extracurricular activities for kids after school, or so on and so forth? If these are existing on maybe say Facebook, or maybe they are on Craigslist, maybe they are on Quora or various other platforms, then you should use that platform to reach out to these people to find your potential target customers. So for kids, for example, using the example of kids, if you want to work with kids, then you would begin to look at, for example, where their parents would be, because the parents of these children are your paying customers, not the kids themselves. So think backwards to where the parents might hang out, and see where you might be able to reach out to them and start building awareness from that point. And on Facebook, for example, even on Google, nowadays there's Google advertising. We no longer have to use posters or use word of mouth or use phone calls and messages and stuff like that to actually advertise. So paid advertising is also an option, and you can definitely look into that. If you're just starting out, I would highly recommend to start with just one platform, and you want to really focus your efforts on that platform. You can, for example, if you're looking at kids, you can already reach out to various existing groups to see if there's a need. You could even contact various aftercare groups, community centers, if they have an aftercare program, and reach out to them and say, I'm a yoga teacher and I would love to work with children. I've done this, training. I wonder if you would be open to me offering this program. And you can offer the first trial, for example, for free, so that people come and experience what it is like to work with you. And then during the end of that first trial, you can offer this special promotion that, for example, would only be valid if people signed up on the day itself or within the next couple of days. That usually gets people excited, and then they really want to make take advantage of the deal, so on and so forth, right? And then that might help you with the conversions, right, to become your paying customers. So that's one possible way. I'll give another example. Let's say you want to work with adults and you're specifically zooming into working with people who are, say, working professionals of a certain age group between 30 to 45, of a higher income level, right? And you want to take them through some kind of like regular private yoga program. So when would you begin to find these customers? Think backwards and think about whether you want to offer them in-person classes, so private yoga classes at your place or their place, or online through Zoom. So all of this will affect when you begin to do your Google ads or your Facebook ads, your geographical targeting. Because when you begin to do your Google ads or your Facebook advertisement or even Instagram adverts, right, there are various options that you can zoom in. You can zoom in by your age group, by gender, by preferences, by their expenditure, whether they've purchased anything online, so on and so forth. So if you're looking more towards like in-person classes, then you might want to narrow down your geographical location to simply those who are close to you, right? Maybe within 1 km or however far you're willing to go to teach in-person classes for your clients, so on and so forth. And then you can create an ad or like a specific post that would speak to your target clients, and you want to make it super attractive, because for your target clients you need to truly understand. Let's say if you're teaching private yoga, why is your target client looking for private yoga? If they're not already looking actively for you, why would they be interested? Is it because they're stressed out from work and they're looking for stress relief? Is it because they're not sleeping well because of their job and their mind is too busy? Or is it because they maybe, for example, they work out at the gym very often and they need yoga to balance out what they're already doing so that they can perform even better at the gym, at CrossFit, whatever other sports they're doing? So the message should be really quite targeted based on what you're offering, and speak about the benefits of what you're offering rather than the thing itself. So instead of, say, private yoga, it should be private yoga to sleep better, or for example, yoga for pelvic health. So if you're working with women with pelvic pain, so that might be something that you want to look at. So speak to your clients' benefits and whatever will help them resolve a problem that they currently have, and that will get them more attracted. Another tip that I want to give you, if you're beginning to source out opportunities on your own, is to begin with people you already know. right? So within your social circle, so let's say you're gonna start your own Facebook page or your own Instagram page to begin to get customers. You should also post in your own private social media page. Let's say I have a Facebook page, right? Already declaring, saying that, oh, I have started offering this service to for this benefit. And then you could say something like, I'm running this promotion. If you are interested, if this speaks to you and this is something that it would be helpful for you, I would love to reach out. Please drop me a message or comment below, or I would love if you forwarded this to someone else. So already just begin with those people who are within your social circle and reach out to them, whether it's through a public post, whether it's through private WhatsApp messages. You can even drop an email to some acquaintances from some time before. If you remember that, let's say maybe they're working in a high stress job, and if yoga might be something that might benefit them, then reach out to them, because you never know what would actually happen. Right? And another thing I shared in the last episode is, as you are doing your yoga teacher training, share snippets, right? Begin to share snippets of whatever you are learning and how this may interest other people. Because people are always interested to know when one of their close friends or acquaintances is a yoga teacher, or that they have certain knowledge in the human body with neck stretches or relieving pain in the hip, in the knee, so on and so forth. These are actually specialized skills that are quite helpful and relevant, especially in this current day and age, with COVID. Stress relief techniques, breathing techniques, meditation to help us get through difficult times. These are all highly relevant. So use these and post regular snippets on your own page, so the people around you begin to know, okay, you're doing your yoga teacher training. I had no idea. So you might be the first or one of the few yoga teachers that they know. And people always like to go to people that they know, right? Word of mouth is the strongest still right now. Word of mouth is still the strongest way of referral or referring someone else or recommending. And therefore, that's why you should begin with people who already know you, so that you can then offer them something sweet and they might become your potential clients or customers, right? So that's the second way. So if you're beginning to strike it out on your own, that might be something you want to look at. The last tip that I would like to offer for you today is to begin to connect with other yoga teachers, right? So if you did, for example, yoga teacher training online, this might be something that would be hard, right? You might not have many peers to actually reach out to. This is super, super important, because from my own experience, right, lots of my opportunities actually came from other teachers. So for example, when they weren't able to teach a class, they asked me to sub for them. So not the studio, not the gym, right? They actually, yoga teachers sometimes, right, you have the authority or the autonomy to ask another teacher to sub directly for you. And that sometimes becomes a long-term opportunity. For example, when someone maybe goes on maternity or they no longer are able to commit to a specific private client, they hand over the client to you, and then you get a new client, a new long-term opportunity. This is why it's super valuable to connect with your peers and more senior teachers, so on and so forth, because you never know what would happen. So if you don't already have a regular peer group or community within which you practice and you have connections, you support, you mentor others, and you are mentored by someone else, I would highly recommend for you to seek out these opportunities, whether it is a local community studio that you either teach at or that you practice at, or whether it's an online group, right? So within Facebook, for example, under the group section, there are various different cover groups. Like for example, in London, there's a London Cover Me yoga group. So when teachers, for example, are not able to teach a certain class, they may post in the group saying that, oh, I need a cover for this date and this time. And then those teachers who are available can respond directly. So look for something that is within what is comfortable for you. If you're teaching in-person classes, then try to see if there is already a community within where you are. If you're looking for online opportunities, then you want to find and see where it might be possible for you to connect with other teachers who are doing online classes that may from time to time may have new opportunities, right? So these are the ways that you can begin to connect and find opportunities. I'll just get a quick drink. Right. Another way is, for example, if you did your 200-hour yoga teacher training with a studio, right? And whether this is an online training or an in-person training, if you haven't already, you should reach out to them and let them know that you are open to and eager to take on any possible forms of employment or opportunities to teach with them, for them, because your studio or your yoga school would be the most likely actually to hire you, because they already know you came from their cohort, especially if they trained you and they know how good, for example, you are. They are more likely to be able to give you maybe say an opportunity to cover a subclass for someone else, right? And if right now you are having maybe say a full-time job and you don't really have bandwidth to do so much of what I just mentioned, like self-promotion, reaching out to a studio, and you're really just looking at beginning to, dip your foot inside the water to start teaching, but you don't really care so much about being paid, then I would suggest to start looking for karma yoga opportunities. So just to begin to teach, and maybe say for an online studio, maybe the studio that you did your 200-hour online yoga teaching training for, if they have a live stream schedule, ask them if they would be happy to have you teach an additional class or to sub for someone else from time to time, maybe once a week. And that will help you gain experience and also build a following within that studio while you are still a new teacher. Right? If you prefer in-person classes, then ask maybe say any of the existing community groups that you are a member of. Let's say you are part of a runners group, or for example, you do aerobics, or you practice dance, or you're part of a knitters group or something like that. Ask them, if they would be open to you hosting, right, once a month yoga session to guide them through it, and this could be by donation basis, and this might be something that would garner interest, help you accumulate teaching opportunities and teaching experience over time, and then naturally, when people come to your classes, if it resonates with them and this is what they truly enjoy, they might become, for example, paying long-term clients who might be interested in a group class, or they might be interested in a private class, right? So to sum up today's episode, so there are three main ways to look at how you can begin to find teaching opportunities. The first would be to find your ideal or your dream employer, whoever that is, a yoga studio, yoga gym, a CrossFit gym. It could be also like a corporate client and you want to offer them a wellness product or wellness program for their employees, and write to them directly. Make contact through LinkedIn, make contact through their website, email them with something really sincere and very targeted, with showing that you've done your research, you know exactly what they want and they need, and that you are a perfect fit, right? And you would love, to offer something for them to try it out, to see if you are, a good fit with them, so that they can begin this relationship. That is the first way. The second way is to strike it out on your own, to start to build a following using various ways of promoting online, the social media channels. You can also, for example, begin to reach out in your own social circles, finding clients that already exist within your circle of friends, your family, your extended family, acquaintances, and then from then on, through word of mouth referral, you begin to build more contacts. And the last one is to network with your peers. Very, very important. I cannot stress this enough, right? In this time of an age, especially if you did your yoga teacher training online, you might feel that you lack that connection. So try to find it, see if there are any cover groups for yoga teachers or peer yoga teacher groups, right, within your local community, if you're teaching in-person classes, or within your city, within your suburb, and just meet up. Like for example, see if there's any opportunities to connect with your peers and at a regular studio, wherever you teach at or you practice at. Right, so this sums up today's episode. I hope you find it useful and helpful for finding opportunities. Feel free to drop a comment or let me know if you have any further questions. And yeah, next week we'll be exploring even more content. Just give me a second. So over the next couple of weeks, we'll be exploring various different things. And next week we'll be airing the episode with the expert yoga teacher Bernie Clark. If you're not familiar with his work, he is the author of various books, including Your Body, Your Yoga, Your Spine, Your Yoga. And he has been a long-time student of, for example, Paul Grady, who is credited to be the founder of Yin Yoga. And Bernie has done a lot of interesting and very, very good work about human variation in the human skeleton and how this affects alignment and also our cueing in yoga. So please stay tuned next week at this time as we air the episode for the interview with Bernie. It's packed full of really interesting information that will help you in your teaching, whether it's cueing, whether it's sequencing a class, whether it's your own approach to teaching and practicing yoga. So I hope you enjoy. Stay tuned next week and I'll see you again soon.